crews carried binoculars and were lined up along the iron fence, staring into the backyard. I didn't recognize a single one of them. Not that I had met everyone in town since I arrived from Boston, but it sure felt like I had. It had been an intense week, starting with the fateful call that my grandmother, Zora Zee Callow, had passed away unexpectedly of natural causes. I'd made a whirlwind trip down here to Wicklow, a rundown small town nestled deep in the mountain shadows of northeast Alabama, to make funeral plans and meet with Granny Zee's lawyer. I then went back to Boston to pack my few belongings and forfeit the room I'd been renting in a quaint old colonial only one T-stop away from UMass Boston, where I'd recently graduated. I'd loaded my car, mentally prepped myself for a 17-hour drive, and headed south. I temporarily moved into the small apartment above the Blackbird Cafe, buried my beloved Zee, and unsuccessfully evaded most of my kind yet nosy new neighbors who wanted to know anything and everything about Zee's secret, mysterious granddaughter, Anna Kate Callow. Me. There had been an endless stream of visitors these past few days, and I'd never seen so many zucchini loaves in all my life. Each neighbor had arrived with an aluminum foil-wrapped loaf, an anecdote about living in Wicklow, a long story about Zee and her cafe, and relentless queries about my age, my upbringing, my schooling, my mother's passing 4 years ago, and my father's identity. I hadn't minded the stories of Granny Zee at all, but I dodged most of the personal questions, especially the ones about my father. I wasn't ready to go there quite yet. It had been an exhausting, emotional week, and I didn't want to even look at zucchini for a good long while. Now this daybreak meeting. Who were these people? A wave of muggy, warm air slapped me in the face like a wet towel as I pushed the window sash upward. It creaked in protest against the swollen wooden frame. Hello? Hello? At the sound of my own voice, my head throbbed, pulsing sharply against my temples. I'd spent most of yesterday with Beau and Gina Barthélemy, the cafe's only employees, readying the cafe for its reopening this morning. The energetic duo had given me a crash course in running the place, everything from ordering to inventory, tickets, and the point-of-sale system. I'd prepped dishes and familiarized myself with the menu and kitchen layout. The day had been nothing short of overwhelming, but Beau and Gina swore up and down that I'd catch on quickly enough. Now, on my knees at the crack of dawn, craving strong coffee and utter silence, I questioned for the umpteenth time this week why on earth I'd moved, even short-term, to this tiny 2-stoplight Alabama town. I didn't belong here. I should be back in Boston, finalizing my plans for my move an hour west to Worcester, where I was going to start classes at UMass Medical School in mid-August. Then I remembered. Zee. More specifically, Zee's will. There! There! Someone shouted from below as he gestured into the backyard. Then he added in a somewhat shamed tone, "Never mind, it was a crow." A chorus of grumbles echoed. "Hello?" I shouted again. No one seemed to hear me. Grabbing my robe, I quickly covered up my knit shorts and tank top and ran a hand over my unruly hair. The stairs creaked as I hurried down them. The pine treads were polished in a dark satin finish that came from decades of use. I could easily imagine Granny Zee zipping up and down these steps, which was strange considering I'd never seen Zee do so. In fact, I had never even set foot in the Blackbird Cafe, or Wicklow for that matter, until earlier this week. Wicklow had always been forbidden territory.